I have been with my wife for 10 years now, and she always has had this habit of making me look bad with our finances. Whenever anything regarding spending money comes up, she will always say how broke we are and she doesn't have the money to do this or buy that. The thing is, we are doing well financially. We have decent jobs and combine our salary is roughly $125K year. As of today, our net worth is more than $1 million but less than 2. I had saved invested a lot before getting married, so I gave us a good head start. I control the finances take the lead, but we both agreed to living a very modest life. We both have our cars from college, for example, Honda and Toyota. She knows everything about our finances because at least once a month I go over it with her every time I deposit money in our investment accounts or our kids' college funds. For banking, we have an emergency fund and I budget everything else to go straight into investments. We basically stay right at $10,000 in our bank savings account and $500 in our checking account after bills. Most of the time there is more than $500 in our checkings, but once I pay our CC each month, I then move anything extra. We always use the CC, so it's not like we only have $500 to spend. Our CC limit is $25,000. A few months ago we had dinner with her friends and they talked buying a new car. My wife said something like, "I wish I could get a new car, but I'm always broke after paying the bills. We still have our college cars." Wife does not want a new car. She will go on to talk about if she had money what she would want to buy, and it always makes me feel ashamed. This "I'm broke" story has been happening for years. When we were driving home, I asked her about. She understood we have the money, but it's how she feels because her bank account is always low. I said I can increase our budget or keep more money in our bank if she wants. Since we are doing well, I'm okay with spending more. She said no and again was happy with our finances. I explained that when she says we are broke, it makes me look bad and I feel ashamed. It's as though I can't provide for the family and / or I am bad with money. She doesn't see it that way. The same conversation has come up numerous times about us being broke. Recently, I reminded her numerous times it makes me feel and look bad in front of friends and family. I told her if she keeps saying stuff like that, I will reveal that we are doing well with money. I gave her a few reminders I'd eventually do this, but she kept going with the "I'm broke" story. At a dinner with her sister and parents, the same "I'm broke" story came up. I piped in and said, "It's weird to hear a millionaire say they are broke." My wife said, "I'm not though." And I quickly say, "We are millionaires and you know that. We go over our finances every month." Well, the "I'm broke" story stopped after that and the night went on as usual. A little later the same thing happens with her friends and I use the same line. Now my wife is mad at me for using that line and revealing roughly how much money we have. She said it seems like I'm gloating. I say it's better than making me look like I'm running us into the ground financially. I'm pretty open to us spending money and I don't restrict her spending. She has the CC to spend money monthly. Most of the month we have far more than $500 in our checking, but I move anything above to our investments once I pay the CC every month. I know I won't have any big expenses then. If I do, we have the CC limit and the $10,000 emergency cash. We live on a really cheap area and had a low cost of living. We never felt RHE need to upgrade until we wanted to start having kids. I didn't have to change our lifestyle much to save a lot. My job is in demand and pays well because nobody wants to live out in my area. So after expenses I take home a lot more than I would living in a major city. Probably 3 to 4 times more net savings annually if I had to guess. She doesn't want a new car and has told me that multiple times. She doesn't like driving and feels comfortable with her current car. She doesn't know what she wants to do when she retires. I know I'll be golfing, games, and eating edibles most days. I don't do any of this much now because we have kids and they will be my focus for a long time. I maybe golf 1 or 2 times a month AMD, that's the only times I take edibles. I'll speak more with my wife about this. I think she may not feel like it's her money since she never saved much before we got engaged. I am a 36 years old female, and I have always been into jewelry. I used to own a variety of jewelry sets, but due to unfortunate circumstances, most of them had to go so I could afford rent after I lost my job. My husband never got lucky to land a job since 2013. Thankfully now I have a stable job that gets us by from month to month. I also kept one set of jewelry which is the most valuable whether momentarily and / or sentimentally, since it's part of family heirloom. The set includes a pair of earrings, a bracelet and a necklace. All gold material and again they are worth decent amount of money. My brother-in-law has been with then-girlfriend for 10 years and they recently got married. It was a huge deal for the family. My husband wanted to get them a decent wedding gift and tried borrowing money from friends and neighbors but got turned down. He kept stressing out about it for weeks and just the other day. The wedding was days prior and the groom and bride are off to their honeymoon. I discovered that my jewelry set was gone. I freaked after my husband nonchalantly said he gifted it to his brother's wife as a wedding gift. I was fuming. I asked how could he and he replied that he had no money and nothing of value to give the newlyweds, and besides that set has been sitting in the closet since July 2019 and I never wore any piece of it, so he figured I'd forgotten about it, but he said he'll figure a way to pay me or get me a similar one once he starts working, but I very loudly told him absolutely not and gave him 3 days. Just 3 days to return the set or I'll stop paying for everything in the apartment. He looked puzzled like he couldn't believe I was serious. He said he doesn't want to cause an issue, but I said it's already there and if he doesn't want issues all he has to do is contact his brother or his wife and retrieve the set or go get it himself. He tried to twist the argument and offer the same solutions as mentioned above, but I refused. I said I just want my set back and he has 3 days only. He kept talking about how tasteless and disrespectful it'd be for him to retrieve a wedding gift, and said this will damage his relationship with his brother and family, and also how impossible it was to retrieve the set in 3 days, when the couple are on their honeymoon in another country. He said I was financially abusing him by threatening to stop paying for anything knowing I'm the breadwinner. Also he refused to give me their new contact info to retrieve the set myself. My husband and I have been married for 3 years now. I have a daughter, 15 years old, and he has a son, 24 years old. I am friendly with my stepson, but we aren't close. He has a biological mother who is a perfectly fine woman. I'm not here to take the role of his mom. My late husband, my daughter's father, died when my daughter was 6. We both contributed to her college fund. My daughter's paternal grandparents have also contributed a large amount. Right now, the fund has about $180,000. My daughter is extremely bright, and I'm not just saying that because I'm her mom. I truly believe she has the capacity to go to an Ivy League school, and her teachers have said she has the potential as well. And I don't want costs to hold her back. Our income would be too high to get any meaningful financial aid. And while there are a few merit-based scholarships out there that she will be applying to, we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket and hope she gets it when it's so competitive. My current husband and I have separate finances. He doesn't contribute at all to my daughter's fund. My stepson is struggling with a heroin addiction and has stolen money, jewelry, heirlooms, and electronics from us for drug money. I understand that addiction is a disease, and I personally paid for an outpatient detox for him, which cost $1,000, which failed. His father then paid for an outpatient rehab program, which cost $6,500, which also didn't work because he barely showed up. He promised us he'd do better next time and he needed another chance. So I split the cost of another $6,500 outpatient rehab program with my husband, which seemed to work during program, but he relapsed as soon as he got out of it. I have spent so much money, time, and energy and it hasn't helped at all. My husband and my stepson want to try a 60-day inpatient rehab program, which will cost $30,000. I had absolutely no idea where they were supposed to get the money for that, considering the thousands and thousands of dollars that were already spent, and the fact that we no longer had anything of value in our house. They want to use my daughter's college fund, which to me is absolutely off limits. I feel like it's completely unfair to my daughter to punish her for my stepson's addiction. Unfair to my late husband and his parents, but frankly, I don't think spending $30,000 will work. My husband thinks I'm an asshole because I'm prioritizing my daughter's education over his son's life. And he believes medical needs come first. He then asked my daughter if she'd be willing to use $30,000 from her fund to pay for her stepbrother's rehab. And she got very quiet and did not answer. He then got very upset with her and said she was being selfish. My daughter later told me that she didn't want to give her stepbrother the money, but she felt so guilty. And I am furious at my husband for emotionally guilt-tripping my daughter like that. My girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years. I know she's been wanting to get married and wanting for me to propose for a really long time. I've always put it off cause I never felt I was at the right spot for it, and I wanted to wait for the right time. Nevertheless, I know she's been waiting for it patiently for a long time, and if it was up to her, we would have gotten married years ago before I was even ready. Anyway, I figured since she's waited so long, I wanted to make it as perfect for her as possible. I chose the weekend of our 6th anniversary of our first date to propose to her. I was planning to have her come over to our house, I would have my mom and sister vacate for the night, and I would prepare a very nice dinner for her and would propose during that. I had written out this really long speech which I'd memorized after much practice because I wanted it to be perfect. Now my girlfriend has always wanted me to learn how to cook. I'm ashamed to say I've never properly learned how to cook, and I've never been really good at it. Since I live with my mother and sister at home, they always cook for me and they've never really needed me to cook. It's always one or the other of them, or both of them, doing cooking. At best, I'd just do washing up or chop up onions or something simple. I told them, look, I desperately need to learn how to cook a very nice meal. I told them she's always wanted me to learn how to cook. And it would be great if I could surprise her with this excellent dinner that I've made myself. She would never expect it from me. She would be thrilled. I told them I might just need some guidance. They weren't that enthusiastic first, they were like, we're really busy, we don't have time to teach a child how to cook. I told them it's really important, and to help them understand the gravity of the situation. I told them I was proposing tonight. They both went crazy and excited, like, oh my god, have you bought a ring yet? I showed them the ring, and my sister went flipping crazy, screaming, crying tears. I told them I was probably going to ask for their opinion on it anyway. And they were really enthralled and so excited and happy for me. My sister was literally crying and breathing heavily. They asked for details and everything about how I was going to propose. I recited the long speech I'd memorized. They told me it was beautiful, they love it, she'll love it. Again my sister was crying even. I told them, so this is why I need to cook tonight. She's always wanted me to learn to cook, and if I make a nice meal for her, I want to make our night as magical as possible. My sister was like, no way, if you cook, you'll it up. Just let us cook for you, and say you did it. I said, no, it has to be me, it has to be me. It's really important that I do it, I don't want to deceive her. We reached a compromise and they said we can do it together. My mom supervised, my sister will take charge. And I'll basically just follow instructions and help her out. It turned out going really good, but how much I really contributed is questionable. They ended up taking way too much over me. Way more than I had planned. I had wanted to do it all myself with their guidance, but I ended up being just a helper while my sister did most of the work. I didn't want to let that spoil the night, so I just let it go. Then my girlfriend arrived at the door, and my mom and sister were getting ready to go out. When they greeted her, my mom was acting cool, polite, very poker face about it, I guess cause she's a mature adult. My sister on the other hand was acting like a jittery little schoolgirl, just jumping out. It was really cringy and awkward to watch. She kept telling my girlfriend how beautiful she looked tonight, how excited she was for her, how we were perfect for each other. The way she was smiling and acting too excited really gave it all away. She said, he's got something really special planned for you. I kept trying to push her out the door and telling her to shut up, but she just wouldn't, and she kept chatting to my girlfriend. I wanted to push her out, but my girlfriend told me I was being rude to her, and I should let the talk. I just sighed and knew it would end badly, but my sister kept being as unsubtle as possible. I really wish I could be a fly on the wall here tonight, you are so lucky, if only you knew. My girlfriend was then, is he going to propose? My sister didn't say yes, or no. She just gritted her teeth in a big smile like SND just started screaming and crying and hugging me, suffocating me. My mom was trying to pull my sister away, but she just started screaming, show her the ring. Show her the ring. I told her to seriously shut up, and that my mom was clearly waiting for her, but she kept shouting, show her the ring. I tried to explain to them that this really wasn't the way I had planned it. I wanted to do it when we were alone and I had a long speech planned. They both just wanted to see the ring. I said, can I at least say the speech? My sister was like, you should let him say it, it's a really beautiful speech. I started and I barely got 2 sentences in when she interrupted me and was like, actually it's 2 long, you can say it later, just show her the ring. I wanted to wait until we were alone so I could say the speech and then show the ring, but they were both literally screaming at me to show them. I told my sister she'd already seen it, she said she wanted to see it again, and my girlfriend told me I had to show it to her now. I showed them the ring again and they both started shouting and screaming. They literally both jumped on me and pinned me to the couch like a lion grappling a dying elephant, and ripped the ring from my hand like a lion tearing meat from its prey. I told them to get off, they were suffocating me. But they were both literally hugging me to death while screaming like hyenas into my ears. It was like WWE or something, it was unreal. I tried to pull away but they were both just hugging and kissing me and screaming into my ears, clawing at me and the ring like rabid animals, squeezing and suffocating me. My mother did nothing to help. She just stood there laughing as I went down. I realized they were mainly interested in the ring, so I let them have it and crawled away to the side of the couch where I could breathe properly. I felt the evening was ruined already. I had nearly just been clawed to death. I didn't know if my clothes were ripped. My hair was completely messed up. I had both their lipsticks smudged on my face from their dual hyena attack. And my clothes were a complete mess now. It was an infuriating mess of a situation and I felt gross. I just sat quietly there for at least 2 hours while my mother, girlfriend, and sister sat together looking at the ring, talking and chatting amongst themselves and acting like I wasn't there. The entire evening was ruined. My mom and sister were meant to be going out for the night. They didn't even leave once and were there the entire time. The food that I had made was getting cold. I told them dinner was getting cold. They all said they weren't hungry and just sat there looking at the ring, obsessing over it like they are Gollum or something. Me, the boyfriend, the groom, may have as well been invisible. They were all completely ignoring me, pretending like I wasn't there. I had planned this perfect evening between my girlfriend and I where I could propose. I'd been preparing it for such a long time. It was completely hijacked by my mother and sister. My sister spoiled it and didn't even feel bad about it. Worst of all, my girlfriend didn't even seem to mind. I told her this wasn't the evening I had in mind. She didn't care. She was too excited about the fact we're finally engaged. I didn't even get a chance to say my speech. She was like, don't worry, you can say it tomorrow. I'm too tired now. It really hurt my feelings. I don't think she understood how sad that made me feel. My girlfriend didn't even seem to care that it wasn't even really me who proposed to her, and the way my sister was acting, you'd think like she was the one getting married. This entire evening I'd planned out for so long. I'd been entirely cut out of it. Sidelined. Reduced to a spectator. After we finally did have the dinner, I asked my girlfriend if we could spend some time together in bed before she goes back home for the night. She was like, we can't. Your mom and sister are here. We can't just leave them. I told her they weren't even meant to be here. They were meant to have gone out tonight. And they both were like, yeah. Go upstairs, don't worry about us. I told her she really shouldn't worry about them. We should both just go upstairs and spend some time together. She was like, no. It would feel too weird and awkward. Well, that bad so much. I felt like the entire night was ruined. I'd barely gotten anything out of it. I didn't even spend any time with my girlfriend. My sister completely spoiled and ruined everything. The entire night was hijacked. I tried to explain to my girlfriend why everything that had happened, including her own behavior and acceptance of it, really bothered me. She didn't seem to understand and just brushed it aside. I explained to my mom, and she sort of understood and was apologetic, but tried to dump most of the blame on my sister. My sister was still in an excited, giddy mood. I asked her what was wrong with her. She said nothing. I told her she'd ruined the entire night and she acted like a 12-year-old or a clown. She got offended and denied it. She refused to see what she'd done wrong and how she'd ruined everything. I don't understand her behavior at all or why she would even act that way. I'm kind of hurt and offended by everything that's happened and the way they reacted to it. Do I have the right to feel this way? Should I just let it go and move on, or is there something I can do so that my grievances don't go unaddressed and ignored?